See problem number 2 on penalty method of handling boundary conditions. See the problem. Determine the nodal displacements, reactions and stresses for the figure below using penalty approach. Take E is equal to 210 GPa, area is 250 mm square. This is the figure given. Same problem we have solved by using elimination approach also. Since it is very important problem, we will solve the same problem by using penalty approach also. See, it is a uniform bar whose one end of the bar is fixed and it is subjected to a 60 kN at the center of the bar. Total length of the bar is given 300 mm. See the free end of the bar. Here there is a support at a distance of 0.12 mm from the free end. In such type of problems, first we have to find out the maximum tip deflection by using strength of material approach. Solution. First we will find maximum tip deflection of the bar. We know the formula. Delta L is equal to PL by AE. P is 60 kN, 60 into 10 power 3. The length is 150 mm divided by area 250 mm square into Young's modulus. It is 210 gigapascal into 10 power 3. Here I have taken the length as 150 mm, but total length of the bar is 300 mm. Why I have taken 150 mm? Because this 60 kN load is acting at a distance 150 mm from the fixed end. That's why I have taken 150 mm. If we simplify this, we will get 0.17 mm. See, this is the maximum tip deflection of the bar. But see the gap here, we have only 0.12 mm gap. Means the bar cannot extend up to 0.17 mm because the gap between the free end of the bar and the support is only 0.12 mm. Since the gap between free end of the bar and the support is only 0.12 mm. The bar cannot elongate up to 0.17 mm. Means the maximum tip deflection of the bar is only 0.12 mm. So because of this support, the bar will not extend up to 0.17 mm. Therefore we can write, therefore maximum tip deflection or displacement, that is Q3 is equal to 0.12 mm. Q3 means the displacement at its free end. Here in this problem, we know the boundary condition. One end of the bar is fixed, so displacement Q1 is equal to 0, and at the other end, the displacement is 0.12 mm. Next is FE model. See here, for finite element model, here you have to use two elements because there is a load at the center. So here you have to create one node. That's why you have to use two elements. From here to here one element and here to here one more element. This is element number 1. This is element number 2. Node numbering 1, 2, 3. Nodal forces F1 at node 1, F2 at node 2, F3 at node 3, and nodal displacements Q1 at node 1, Q2 at node 2 and Q3 at node 3. This is the finite element model of the given continuum. Next is elemental stiffness matrix. Elemental stiffness matrix. K is equal to AE by L 1 minus 1 minus 1 1. See here, since there are two elements, you have to write two elemental stiffness matrix. So for element 1, K1 will be is equal to the area, it is 250 mm square, Young's modulus is 210 GPa into 10 power 3 by the length, it is 150 mm. 1 minus 1 minus 1 1. If you simplify this, you will get 10 power 5 outside, 3.5 minus 3.5 minus 3.5, 3.5. Now here you have to give the node numbering. See the FE model, element number 1, it connects node number 1 to 2. That's why here you have to give numbering 1, 2, 1, 2. Next for element 2, see here for the element 2 also you will get the same elemental stiffness matrix, because area is also 250 mm square, Young's modulus is also 210 GPa and length is also 150 mm. Therefore K2 will be equal to 10 power 5, 3.5 minus 3.5 minus 3.5, 3.5. But here node numbering changes. See the element number 2, it connects node number 2 to 3. That's why here give the number 2, 3, 2, 3. This is the elemental stiffness matrix for element 1 and 2. Next is global stiffness matrix. Global stiffness matrix K will be equal to K1 plus K2, or K is 10 power 5. See here, since there are 3 nodes, each node has got 1 degrees of freedom. The order of the global stiffness matrix will be 3 cross 3. I'll give the node numbering 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Now here we need the element corresponding to 1 and 1. See the elemental stiffness matrix for first element K1. Here the element corresponding to 1 and 1 is 3.5. But in K2 we don't have any element corresponding to 1 and 1. Therefore here element corresponding to 1 and 1 is 3.5. Next we need element corresponding to 2 and 1. Again see the elemental stiffness matrices. K1, the element corresponding to 2 and 1 is minus 3.5. But in K2, that is elemental stiffness matrix of second element, we don't have any element corresponding to 2 and 1. Therefore here element corresponding to 2 and 1 is minus 3.5. Next we need element corresponding to 3 and 1. See in K1 we don't have any element corresponding to 3 and 1. Similarly in K2 also we don't have any element corresponding to 3 and 1. Therefore here we will get 0. Since the stiffness matrix is a symmetric matrix, I can directly write here minus 3.5 0. Next we need element corresponding to 2 and 2. See K1 element corresponding to 2 and 2 is 3.5. If you see elemental stiffness matrix of second element corresponding to 2 and 2 is again it is 3.5. Therefore you have to add 3.5 and 3.5. It is 7. Therefore here the element corresponding to 2 and 2 is 7. Next we need element corresponding to 3 and 2. See K1, here we don't have any element corresponding to 3 and 2. But in K2 we have element corresponding to 3 and 2, that is minus 3.5. Therefore here we will get minus 3.5. Next here I can write minus 3.5 because of symmetry. Next we need element corresponding to 3 and 3. See in K1 we don't have any element corresponding to 3 and 3. But in K2 we have element corresponding to 3 and 3, that is 3.5. Therefore here we will get 3.5. This is the global stiffness matrix. Next is global displacement vector. Global displacement vector, that is Q is equal to Q1, Q2, Q3. Next, global load vector, that is F is equal to F1, F2, F3 equal to, see the figure, here we don't have any load, means F1 is equal to 0. Similarly here at node number 3 we don't have any load, so F3 will also be equal to 0. But at node number 2 we have a force of 60 kilonewton, that is F2 is 60 kilonewton. So F1 is 0, F2 is 60 kilonewton, F3 is again 0. 0, 60 into 10 power 3, 0. This is the global load vector. Next is equilibrium condition. Equilibrium condition, that is K into Q is equal to F. It is 10 power 5, 3.5 minus 3.5, 0, minus 3.5, 0, 7, minus 3.5, minus 3.5, 3.5 into Q1, Q2, Q3 is equal to 0, 60 into 10 power 3, 0. This is the equilibrium equation. Next is applying the boundary condition. Applying the boundary condition. It is using penalty approach. See here, one end of the bar is fixed, that is you know the displacement Q1 is equal to 0. At the other end also the displacement we know, that is 0.12 mm. Now according to penalty approach, both ends of the bars are modeled by using a spring having very large stiffness C. The stiffness of the spring C is equal to maximum of Kij into 10 to the power of 4. Maximum Kij, for this you have to see the global stiffness matrix. Here the maximum value is 7 into 10 power 5. So it is C is equal to 7 into 10 power 5 into 10 power 4. This is the stiffness of the spring used. So from figure we have Q1 is equal to A1 is equal to 0. that is displacement at node number 1 is 0 because it is fixed, and displacement at node number 3, that is Q3, is equal to A3 is equal to 0.12 mm. Now we will use penalty method. Using penalty method, since we know the displacement at node number 1, Q1 is equal to A1 is equal to 0, this spring stiffness C gets added to corresponding element here, that is at K11 this C gets added. So 3.5 plus C. Again we know the displacement at node number 3, Q3 is equal to A3 is equal to 0.12 mm. Therefore this C gets added to corresponding element, that is K33, here also plus C. Next, the corresponding spring forces are added to F1 and F3. At node 1, the corresponding spring force is C into A1, it gets added here, C A1. At node 3, the corresponding spring force is C into A3, it gets added here, C into A3. So it becomes 10 power 5, 3.5 plus C, that is 7 into 10 power 5 into 10 power 4. Since this 10 power 5 is outside, I will take only 10 power 4. 7 into 10 power 4 minus 3.5, 0, minus 3.5, 0, 7, minus 3.5, minus 3.5, 3.5 plus C. Again it is 7 into 10 power 4 into Q1, Q2, Q3 is equal to F1, it is 0 plus C, 7 into 10 power 9 into A1, A1 is 0. So this complete term becomes 0. Next F2, 60 into 10 power 3. Next F3, here it is C into A3. C is 7 into 10 power 9 into A3, it is 0.12. If you simplify this, you will get 10 power 5, 7, 0, 0, 0, 3.5 minus 3.5, 0, minus 3.5, 0, 7, minus 3.5, minus 3.5, here it is again 7, 0, 0, 0, 3.5 into Q1, Q2, Q3 is equal to 0, 60 into 10 power 3. If you multiply this here, you will get 840 into 10 power 6. This is the equilibrium equation after applying the boundary condition by using penalty approach. Okay, if you multiply the matrix, we will get 7, 0, 0, 0, 3.5 Q1 minus 3.5 Q2 is equal to 0 minus 3.5 Q1 plus 7 Q2 minus 3.5 Q3 is equal to 60 into 10 power minus 2 minus 3.5 Q2 plus 700 3.5 Q3 is equal to 840 into 10 power 1. If you solve these three equations, you will get, on solving, we get Q1 is equal to 7.28556 into 10 power minus 6 mm, which is nearly equal to 0. Because node number 1 is fixed, you have to get 0, but this value is nearly equal to 0. Q2, that is displacement at node number 2, is 0.14572 mm. This is displacement at node number 2. And Q3, that is displacement at node number 3, is 0.1200013 mm. These are the displacements at corresponding nodes. So first question is over. Second one is stresses. We will find stresses. We have the formula for element 1. Sigma 1 is equal to E1 by L1 minus 1 1 Q1 Q. We will substitute the values. E1, it is 210 into 10 power 3 by L1, it is 150 minus 1 1. Q1 is 7.28556 into 10 power minus 6. Q2 is 0.14572. If you simplify this, we will get sigma 1 is equal to 204 Newton per mm square. This is stress in element number 1. Next, we need stress in second element. For element 2, sigma 2 is E2 by L2 minus 1 1 Q2 Q3 is equal to E2 is 210 into 10 power 3 L2 again 150 minus 1 1. Q2 is 0.14572. Q3 is 0.1200013. If you simplify this, we will get sigma 2 is equal to minus 36 Newton per mm square. This is stress in second element. Next, we need support reaction. Support reactions. See the figure. We have support at node number 1 as well as at node number 3. So you have to find out support reaction R1 and R3. Here, see, in penalty method, the fixed supports are modeled by using a spring. That's why here the support reaction is nothing but the spring reaction or the spring force. So it is given by R1 is equal to the spring force is spring stiffness into the displacement of the spring. So spring stiffness is here C into the resultant spring deflection is Q1 minus A1. Here you have to take minus sign because it is a reaction. Now if you substitute the given value, minus C, it is minus 7 into 10 power 9. Q1 is 7.28556 into 10 power minus 6 minus A1 is 0. See here, In penalty approach, the fixed support is modeled by using a spring having very large stiffness C. See, at one end of the spring, the displacement is A1, at the other end the displacement is Q1. So the resultant displacement of the spring will be Q1 minus A1. That's why here I have taken resultant spring displacement Q1 minus A1. Now if we simplify this, we will get R1 is equal to minus 50998.92 Newton. This is the support reaction at node number 1. Next we need support reaction at node number 3. Next we need support reaction at node number 3, that is R3 is equal to minus C into corresponding spring displacement, that is Q3 minus A3 equal to minus 7 into 10 power 9. Q3 is 0.120013 minus A3 is 0.12. If you simplify this, we will get R3 is equal to minus 9100 Newton. This is the support reaction at node number 3. Thank you.